Welcome to the Moments That Matter podcast. My name is Laura Escamilla. I'm your host today. We're going to be welcoming a new friend of ours, Joe Quiroga. He is the president of Texas National Bank, and he's here to talk to us about their new foundation, the TNB Foundation, that is offering scholarships to students of the Rio Grande Valley, and we're going to learn more about that. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
First, I'd like to know what inspired you, Texas National Bank, to establish the foundation, the Scholarship Foundation. It's a big endeavor. And learn a little bit more about how this started.
What inspired us, I guess, collectively, the message that we want to send to the community is a message of hope, first of all. We believe that we've been given a lot of opportunities, and as the Bible says, too much is given, much responsibility is there. So for us to give back is part of what Texas National Bank is about. We share, and by we, I mean the board of directors, a lot of our executive team share in the success story of having immigrated to this country, having an opportunity for education, and then going on and doing something with it. And so for us, it was, I think, important now as we have prospered as a bank, as we have grown as a bank, we thought it was important and quite frankly, a desire and a need for us to continue to invest and give back to our community. And so we established the TNB Foundation. The foundation is directly supported by, among other people, Texas National Bank, obviously, but we were hoping to have more community members be a part of it. And we decided that we were going to launch on 3 different initiatives at the foundation. TNB Foundation stands for education first and foremost. We believe, again, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes investment back into our community. And so we wanted to make education the utmost priority of our foundation. In addition to that, affordable homeownership is another item which we want to talk about today, but is another item that we want to stress to the community in due time. And then the other is small business. And so those 3 initiatives really is a foundation of what the TNB Foundation stands for. But education in particular was just an important aspect of reinvesting back in our community.
That is the foundation for people to improve their quality of life, to be able to own a home in the future, to be able to have a small business. It starts with an education. So I can see how all those 3 things fall in line.
It's called the great equalizer, right? No matter what your background and no matter where you come from, having a good education really puts you at the same level playing field with anybody else of any other walk of life. And so I think for us, that reinvestment part, they pay it forward. There were so many people that were instrumental personally in my career, in my education, that that helped out and helped pave the road for me and for a lot of our board members in particular. And so it's now our turn, and we feel a calling, we feel a responsibility for us to give back to this community and help be that person for someone else. And so it really is a great joy for us to do this. This is something that I've had an aspiration for personally for many, many years in my life, to say, it's my turn, right? People did it for me and now it's my turn. And so I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm happy that the board membership of the bank that I belong to shared in the same vision, and now we're doing this together. So we're really excited about it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Congrats on that. It's a big endeavor, definitely. Talk to me about the mission and the vision you have for the foundation overall long term. What are you hoping to have come out of this? Are you gearing this towards just customers of Texas National Bank? Are you hoping to help all the community of the Rio Grande Valley?
It starts from the vision of the bank, right? So first of all, the bank is now about to open its 10th location, and we're established from Brownsville, Texas right now up until Mission. We have a few more branches that are coming and a few other announcements to be making in the future. For us, the Rio Grande Valley is our target audience. So the 4-county area, right? Star, Willacy, Hidalgo, and Cameron County is our Rio Grande Valley. And so I think for us, the vision is, as we expand, that is to expand the investment that we make in this. But it's not just Texas National Bank's foundation, although that's the namesake. The idea is to bring other community leaders, other organizations that maybe are indirectly tied to the Rio Grande Valley, and invite them to reinvest into this area. We see this done throughout the country, but in particular, the needs are special in the Rio Grande Valley. The needs are unique in the Rio Grande Valley because of the immigrant community that we have. The background that some of us bring is not the same background that others have. And so we want to continue to share that message to others, whether it's a business owner down the street that says, how can I get involved? To maybe a corporate individual or corporate company that says, how do I invest in this area that's quite frankly growing? A lot of those folks aren't even aware of what's happening. All they hear is the negativity in the news and the immigrant situation that we have. And I always like to share the positiveness that's coming out of this and the investment that we all need to make.
And that's definitely an excellent way to describe a scholarship organization. Like I see ourselves, it is an avenue for other businesses to have an impact and invest in the community, because not everybody can set up a whole foundation, but they can support a foundation like yours and the initiatives. I definitely see how other organizations and other people can use your organization and your foundation as a way to have an impact without having to go set up a whole
Right.
501c3 themselves,
Well,
right? So,
and we've realized it is an
mhm,
endeavor. We have done this pro bono. As a matter of fact, we're expending, I should say, a lot of resources that we
mhm,
have at the bank side to
mhm,
start. This is not a small endeavor
right.
to start up. We've been talking about this for a number of years. And so I think for us, you're right. If someone wants to just join forces, and although it is called TNB Foundation, you invest enough money, we're happy to name a scholarship every year. Anything is possible.
Right. Grassroots. Yeah.
Grassroots
And
efforts.
yeah, definitely. Let's talk about the criteria and the scholarship itself and the qualifications for a student to be eligible to apply.
Sure. I think one of the things that we wanted to do is with anything that we do at the bank level, it's be unique. How are we addressing all of the needs? And we've tried our best to address all the needs. Admittingly, this is our first year, so we're going to learn a lot. We're
Hmm.
already learning a lot
Hmm.
just in the applications we've already received. But one of the things we said, look, there's a number of financial resources available to people of different income levels. And so, first of all, the first thing we wanted to say is we're taking some income into account, but we're not going to discriminate whether you have low income or middle income or even high income for that matter. We want to make a good decision for a well-rounded student that's deserving it. Sometimes we find ourselves making decisions about a particular income status because both parents work, but they may have 3 or 4 kids in college. Maybe the need
Hmm.
is greater there. And so we wanted to address that issue. We wanted to address the issue of students that have maybe a background that doesn't lead towards college. Maybe it's a technical skill that they want, welding, plumbing,
Hmm.
electricians. The trades right now are in high demand and quite frankly, very beneficial to somebody who wants to go towards that, but they may or may not have the financial resources to go get that technical degree. And so we're open to that as well. And then we're also open to, you don't just have to be a high performing student. Maybe there's something in the background that just was preventing you, family situation, whatever the case may be, that's preventing you from really excelling and doesn't show up in your grades per se, but it shows up in your essay or your statement. We have an interview component for the finalists as well. So we're taking all of those collectively. We're trying to manage that into some sort of
Hmm.
scorecard type
Right.
mentality. So I guess the message there to an individual student that says, should I apply for this or should I not apply for this? We're saying apply because it's not just your traditional high performing student excelling in the classroom that's going to get these scholarships. And the other thing is we wanted to be unique in the sense that this is, I got to be careful how I say this, a full tuition paid, full in-state tuition paid. So we calculated that to be about $52,000. And so we're going to give multiple $52,000 scholarships to students, whether they decide to stay here in the state or they decide to go elsewhere. So we think that's an attention grabbing item. $52,000 is a significant amount of money.
That's a 1-year scholarship.
It's a 4-year.
4 year.
So 4 years, so it's renewable every year. We're attaching obviously the component of being able to help the student throughout their 4 year. We have an internship program at the bank, for example. We want them, if that's what they choose to do, to come back and help learn with us. If their trade is somewhere outside of banking or finance, we'll partner them with businesses. We want to hold that student's hand for 4 years, be a mentor towards them, and help them along the path.
Okay. And high school seniors are the people who should be applying?
Right.
Is that okay?
So high school seniors, we have already begun to take applications. We'll take
Mhm.
applications through January 15th of 2024, and we'll be awarding early spring. I know there's a big financial aid application that's now delayed, and we're keeping an eye on that as well. So we don't want to announce a specific date, but we're going to be following that timeline. But we will award it in early 2024. We're awarding multiple amounts of scholarships. So we encourage everybody throughout the Rio Grande Valley, whether there's a Texas National Bank in your neighborhood or your city or not, it doesn't matter. The entire Rio Grande Valley from Starr County to Cameron County is welcome to apply.
Excellent. And I just did a session for parents at Region 1 yesterday, and I presented our scholarship information, and there was other scholarships there, but that is good to know that you cover all of the valley, because there were parents that were concerned, oh, you only in Hidalgo County or you're only in Cameron County, but being through all 4 counties is a big difference, because Willacy and Starr, they don't really have a lot of opportunities for students and families there. So it's good to know that students from those counties can apply.
We want to share the message. We have been out at the different school districts with counselors, with Region 1, doing this even just to get that message out. We're inviting any and all students to apply. I can tell you, first of all, the application is online, so it's very easy to navigate. And the number of applications that have been started already, quite frankly, has surpassed our expectations even up to now. And we're not even in the bulk of
Right.
season, if you will. So we're really excited.
From experience, that last month is the
That's what I figured. And so
yeah.
we're excited that already we're getting a huge traction, more than I thought we would get. And so we're excited about it, and we want to make sure we get the word out.
So the documents that are required or requested are the official high school transcript
Correct.
and a letter of recommendation from a teacher, principal, or counselor, professional staff at their school.
Correct.
And then a letter of recommendation from somebody that is not from the school, but maybe a community member or someone they know.
Yeah. And this is where we're really pushing the student. We want to get their story, right? And
Hmm.
sometimes it doesn't show up in, well, he's a great student
And the numbers,
and that
right?
exactly.
Hmm.
And so, and it could be anybody, maybe your pastor, it could be somebody you've worked with, it could be whoever. You and I both know if they're going to excel in the classroom and secondary education, it's about getting outside their comfort level a little bit.
Hmm.
So we're kind of pushing that to some degree to go out and seek and sit somebody down and say, hey, can you write something for me? And so this
Right.
is their first step towards getting this. So we're asking them to be creative and unique with that.
You also request an essay. Does it have to say anything in particular? Is there a prompt that they should have for the essay?
Yeah, so there's about 4 different questions that they can answer. They can choose
Hmm.
whichever path. Some people write essays about their personal story, some about what inspired them. So there's about 3 or 4 different avenues
Prompts.
they can
Hmm.
take with that. And again, we're really looking for a uniqueness. Why should we be awarding something like this to you? What will it do to you or to your family? And how can you leverage this for your future?
And the student can be pursuing an undergraduate degree or, as you mentioned, a associate's degree or a trade.
Correct. So either or. This year is going to be a little bit different, but I think in the following years, maybe even look at a post-bachelor type degree because so much of it is focused right now on just getting your bachelor's degree. But for right now, it is just bachelor's. I think next year we'll look to expand that.
Great. There is a lot of need for graduate scholarships. And what can you tell me about the type of student that you're looking for as far as field of study? Does it matter what they're pursuing? It doesn't have to be around the financial sector or anything like that related to the bank. It can be whatever field of study.
Correct. Not at all. So again, this is about growing this community. This is about helping those in need. This is about helping those that have done well. And so even at that component, we're not saying this is a need-based scholarship or a merit-based scholarship. It's really a combination. Or if somebody just really excels and we said, look, there's maybe not as great a need, but look, clearly we should reward this student. So we're leaving it
Mhm.
very open-ended because we want the students to really feel like this is a good opportunity for them to apply.
I
Right.
think that's really special. I think that an interview with the student and looking at some spark that maybe is not present on paper, something that is not reflected in their grades or their community service, but you can see something unique, something that you know they can nurture and grow and become a productive member of society. And the 3 aspects of it, home ownership, small business, and education, those 3 components, those are incredibly important. And I think this is a very noble endeavor for you all to be doing this. And it was a lot of work, but it's completely worthwhile. I think that's fantastic.
We're excited. Like I said, we're learning so much, quite frankly. We kid around at the board level and we say it's really hard to give away money. And it's not because people aren't applying, it's choosing.
Right.
Oh my word. I mean, as we've begun this, we're just looking at this and saying, how are we going to differentiate between this great story, that great story, this person? But we're already seeing some trends, right? We don't want students who, for example, COVID years, a freshman, sophomore year, things happened in the household, outside the household, and sometimes it doesn't show up in their ranking, for example, or in their grades. Well, we don't want that to be an inhibitive factor. What have you done to put that in your past and look forward? So, leaving it very open. And obviously, we're investing, and I use that word very cautiously, investing in these students. We want them to be prepared and do well because, their success is our success, so to speak.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we don't want people to be discouraged and, well, I'm not ranked in my top 10%, therefore I probably don't stand a chance. That's not the case. 50%, I can tell you this much, 50% of the grading on this is the in-person interview and the essay. So we think it's a pretty significant portion.
Yeah, definitely. And I wouldn't stay away from using the word investing. I have been a scholarship provider for 18 years. And that is the biggest thing from our scholarship recipients when I sit down and I meet them and I talk to them. That is actually the main word they use. Just knowing somebody is investing in me, it pushes them further to do their best and to work, and somebody believes in them. So I think that word invest is very appropriate, although you're probably meaning it as financial, but
Right.
for them, they do see it as an investment that somebody's taking a chance on them. And I think that's important. I think you should harness that
Harness it.
word.
I think it's definitely both. Looking back at the younger version of myself, my grade did not reflect any of the successes I've had in my life. And I think it would have been a really good candidate for the scholarship if it existed back then.
We have 2 kids and our daughter, we talk a lot about if somebody just met her, like on paper,
Right.
she's like everybody else, but her work ethic and the type of person she is, they just need to give her the opportunity to
Right.
meet her and talk to her. And they would see what we see, right? But on paper,
Absolutely.
she looks like everybody else. And that is a big component that's very important.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that we really want to stress is that interview portion, because you're right, it doesn't show up sometimes on paper, or maybe you catch a glimpse of it and you want to learn a little bit more. And what does this person really like? So we're excited about the interviews. It's going to be an endeavor to distinguish between one or the other. But, I look back in my own personal journey. I got at the time was a pretty significant scholarship. The Walmart Foundation gave me a scholarship. My dad was in the Tire Express area, one of the mechanics, and I applied for it. And I couldn't be more proud to represent Walmart at the time because my dad worked there. And Walmart made such a huge deal at the local level. I was, I think, their first recipient at the time for anybody south of San Antonio is what they had told me. And they brought me in. They had all their employees sort of congratulated me. Remember when Walmart used to have photography studios?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't even think that's a thing anymore, but they took my photo and they had it up on the wall for, it seemed like years. It was not a very flattering photo of me at the time. And a lot of people would tell me, I saw your picture at Walmart, with the scholarship recipient. And they gave me, remember at the time, it was $7,500, right? And I was supposed to renew it every year.
That's significant.
And it was significant for UTPA at the time. It covered essentially all of my tuition, if I remember correctly. And then my junior year, I got an additional scholarship, significant scholarship of about $20,000 from, and I always like to tell the story because I want to speak to the student. Of all places, it was from the United Negro College Fund. And I know this is a podcast and I am not African-American, okay? I'm Hispanic. I was born in Mexico. But because the UTPA at the time was recognized as a university that had a significant amount of minority students, it qualified. And so I just said, what the heck, I'm going to apply for it, right? And so I always tell people, when in doubt, just apply. Just apply.
Absolutely.
You just never know.
You do not know.
You just do not know.
Let them decide.
Yeah, let them decide. Put them on the hot seat, so to speak.
Yeah, and what's the worst that can happen? You're exactly where you started. You lost nothing.
This is my junior year. They gave me $20,000. I mean, it was
amazing.
a significant, it was a life-changing moment.
That's a lot now. I mean, not that you're old, but but I mean, I can imagine then on top of what you were already receiving. That's amazing.
And it began with that first scholarship. Walmart believed in you.
Right.
They saw something in you that was unique and they knew that you would do well.
Right.
And that led to making it to your junior year, because without that initial investment, you would have had to pay differently. You don't know which way your life would have gone. I'm sure you would have been fine.
Right.
But when an entity or a person or something bigger than yourself believes in you,
right,
and is, like we said earlier, investing in you.
And that's such a huge part of this, because when we say, I see something in him, or that this corporation saw something, a lot of times as a student, you don't think you're special. I mean, you're going about your daily, but yet we see so many students, the way they attack a problem, whatever the case may be. And we say, look, that's unique, that's special. And so a lot of times we don't even believe in ourselves as students as much as others believe in us. And that's what we want here. We want to be able to bring that out and say, I think this is the right move.
And we've talked about that in essays too, when students are discussing themselves. A lot of the things that I hear from students is like, well, I'm just a normal kid. I'm just like everybody else. But there are a lot of things in their life that make them unique. If they go after school every day and help their grandparents and cook dinner or take care of their siblings, those are all things that make them different, taking on responsibilities and people depending on them. And they may see themselves, because they live it every day, that they're just normal. But to somebody on the outside, to me, that shows a teenager who's taking responsibility and who's dependable, and a lot of things that on paper, like you said, on paper, I'm just a senior in high school. But when they talk about themselves and you start learning little things, they start to stand out a bit.
Well, and sometimes the students, because I recall going back to my high school days, things that I was ashamed of. Okay. And for me, I was ashamed of the fact, for example, that I was a migrant student. Okay. We would migrate up my 8th grade, 9th grade, and 10th grade year. We migrated up to go work in the fields. And that was like, I didn't want my friends knowing that. It was not cool per se. Little did I know that was teaching me a lot about life, first of all.
A whole lot about it.
A whole lot. And but second of all, it was that uniqueness that we're looking for. And I struggled even kind of saying that because I didn't want people to think of me differently. But yet you realize now in life, wait a minute, that's exactly the type of work ethic that somebody wants to see. It had
tremendous value. 100%. That you did not realize at the time. And it's hard to see that when you're living it.
Yeah,
really
no,
is.
My father does very well for himself. He only has a high school diploma, but he was a migrant worker. And I always think about that. And as he talks about his experiences, that his work ethic, like nobody can outwork him, you know, and he will take off the shirt from his back to give it to somebody else, because he knows what it's like to come from a struggle and to work hard for everything that you have. And it's made him an amazing person.
Absolutely.
And we were not migrant workers, but because he worked very hard to ensure that we didn't have to be. And
I
that
think
kind of
that's
goes on.
And I think that's the Valley special, right?
Right.
Like right there, nowhere else in America can you talk about migrants and that people understand what that's like. And that's the uniqueness of what the Valley brings. And I think that's the upbringing, whether it's you or the generation before you or even the generation before that, that you remember those things and that we're proud of that. And that we go out into the workforce and we bring some of those work ethics into what we do. And so I'm incredibly proud to say that I'm from the Rio Grande Valley, incredibly proud to say that I was born in Mexico and immigrated here and sharing the American dream. But so are a lot of my board members. They share the same mission, the same, history. And so this is why for us, this is incredibly a proud moment for us to launch now something. Foundation has such a big name to it, but we just want to help. That's as simple as that. We just want to help and pay it forward now.
And your education is what helped you provide a better life for your children, giving them an education, giving them the opportunities to get their education. It pushes it forward. They do better. Then from there, the next generation does better. And it is a future investment. It really is.
Absolutely. So we're ecstatic. I mean, to be able to do this, we have a lot of work on our hands, like I said, but it's great work. It's very rewarding work. And so we just want to invite the public. If you're a high school counselor, if you're a high school teacher, spend some time talking to your students, not just about the scholarship, but there's no competition in the Rio Grande Valley for scholarships. I value your time in the position that you have with STARS to share the message and share the platform, so to speak, to say, hey, there's other opportunities, because as corporations that are from the Valley, we just can't do enough, right? We can all better ourselves. And so we all need to come together to do this and to do this in a very effective manner. We're excited to be jumping into something like this. We have a lot of work ahead of us. And I keep saying that because we're realizing how much work there is.
The need is there.
But the need is there.
As you were mentioning, I welcome all scholarship opportunities for our students because I know that there are students we can't help. And I see the applicants, and we receive 4,000, 6,000 applicants a year, and we can't help every student. And it's hard as a scholarship provider to be able to pick, as you said, the students and which ones you're going to help. And it's not that some are better than others. It's just that the resources are finite.
Right.
So the more scholarship organizations out there, the better. I mean, that's just more students we can help, or the more help a student can get if they apply to multiple scholarships. So I think there is more than enough need out there for everybody, and everybody helps different students. So that's really an important message. Can you talk to me a little bit if there is anybody in the community or any donors that want to get involved? I know you're just starting the organization and you're going through the application process, but I'm sure after this point, you're going to see where you are and what you need and how people can get involved with you.
Absolutely. So we do have a couple of events that are being planned for early next year. I think at that time we'll sort of announce, we've got a few ideas. I think right now we're so dedicated on just launching the foundation, but also launching the scholarship piece, because we know that there's a finite time frame for that as well. But we're looking at an early spring event to garner some resources. For the time being, we've made personal pledges and personal pledges on behalf of the bank as well to be able to support this. But we absolutely will be reaching out to the rest of the community to say, you're welcome to join in. Let's do something really great. And so if anybody just can't help themselves and says, how do I do it now? We absolutely would welcome that. Contact us and we'll be happy to share a little bit about why we're doing this in the vision and how you can help out.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Again, it's TNB Foundation. The website to apply is tnbfoundation.org, and the deadline is January 15th of 2024. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Wonderful. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention?
Well, just thank you for the opportunity and thank you for the work that you do to share this message. I think we need to do more and more of this. And then just to the student, right? Dream big. You can't put into words sometimes what a dream looks like or feels like. This valley has produced so much talent that has left, and come back, and so much talent that's still here. And so I just say, whatever it is that you decide, the path that you want to take, some kids can't wait to get out of the Rio Grande Valley. Some of us, like myself, couldn't wait to come back. So whatever that is, it doesn't matter. We just want to make sure that we support that dream. I know that I feel really, really special when I meet somebody anywhere across the U.S. that says, I've got ties to the Rio Grande Valley and I'm off doing something else. That's totally fine too. But we love to keep as much talent here. Personally, the reason I'm here is this is a great area to invest in. This is the area that's got a tremendous amount of growth potential. We're a pretty significant portion now of the Texas economy and even the U.S. economies. There's great opportunities here. I just wanted to tell the students this is a great moment for us as a Rio Grande Valley, as a collective, to come together and to just dream a little bit.
And I'll piggyback off that and just tell parents who are listening, encourage your students to apply for all of these scholarships and encourage them, whatever their dreams are. There's resources out there. There's people willing to help them. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for your time. I really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Quiroga. Appreciate it.